The budget, right now, we are formulating the budget for next year. We are putting our books together, reviewing the bank statements from the last year. We think it's about $100,000 a year, and we have that money for now, but we are going to need to have it for next year too. So.
Now, somebody asked me about what the rent is here.
We can't discuss the amount of the rent. We have a confidentiality agreement with the landlord, so we can't discuss the specifics of the rent.
But it's a 7-year lease, is that correct?
It is a 7-year
That started when?
A year ago, I think.
We are actually currently in the 2nd year of our lease now. And Greg had a question. And if you would have asked me that, I probably would have said it.
Well,
we're not allowed to say it's over about $6,000 a month. So.
I'm taping this, but let me just ask this question about the issue of confidentiality. Since you're a nonprofit and that information will be in your 990 forms,
right.
I don't know how legally that could even be the case.
Well, then you'll just have to look in our 990
Okay. Okay.
Scott?
So, a suggestion for next week, you're going to have your opening December 12th, right?
Correct.
So, one thing you might incorporate with that is, when Henry Gerber incorporated Society for Human Rights in 1924, corporation papers were December 10th.
Really?
And in the 80s, Gerber Hart would have little Henry Gerber parties on December 10th.
Like Guy Fawkes parties?
What?
Like Guy Fawkes parties in England?
Sort of. So, yeah. So, even though it's next week, the incorporation papers are reprinted in Jonathan Katz's book.
That's a really great idea, Scott, and perhaps we'll have birthday hats on the 12th.
It's also Jane Addams Day, by the way.
Yeah. Wow. What the heck?
This is the first day of Hart Library being open.
Thank you for that constructive suggestion.
We have high-res TIFFs of those that we used in the exhibit, so I still have them, and they're for
There you
public
go.
use.
Oh, that would be great, Jill.
And actually, I probably got a little more Henry Gerber things. And
If we could get together with you guys in the next week, that would be
Yeah.
great.
And
Sir,
we'll talk to Gavin as well.
Sir, you had a question before.
I see the books, but you haven't specifically said that it will be a circulating library.
It is a circulating library.
And who will be eligible to start?
Anybody who wants to. We'll have, as you can see on the forms, categories of donations. And each of these donations includes a membership.
The lowest levels being.
Pardon me?
You specify a minimum donation.
We are negotiable.
Yes. The standard individual membership is 40. Special membership, full-time students, other situations is 25, and on from there.
Right. Did I answer your question?
So basically, you need to join in order to be a borrower.
To take a book out of the space, we need to have some sort of commitment that assures us you will bring it back. Nothing personal.
But anyone is allowed to come into the library and read items. That's not going to be hard.
You had a question?
I have a challenge. I was the first attorney for the Howard Brown Clinic, first attorney for Horizons. I was the attorney for the Unicorn Bathhouse when it opened, and then we converted that to a foundation that you've heard of. We've given away millions of dollars. I have 10 boxes at least of my legal files. Unfortunately, our gay history has been written mostly in criminal court. Half of your name is Pearl Hart. I worked with her prodigy, Renee Hanover, when we began. Renee didn't leave any records. I have all my files from the beginning. They're in storage. I'm thinking of giving them to the Chicago Historical Society. I didn't think this place was mature enough to take those files and do something with them. Tracy knows I've been discreet all these years. William Kelly has been more public. But I've probably defended more men who have been caught with their pants down, a judge, an alderman, a state representative, and so on. So I need these files to be handled with discretion. Some of these men are still alive. I had a famous, notorious gay murder case, 7 murder cases. All of these things need to be handled. I'm willing to donate $500, that's all, for archival boxing and so on. If you're ready now to handle such a challenge, you might involve more staff and so on, volunteers, to handle it. I would be willing to talk to you about that. But I'd like someone to make a decision soon, because I'm getting a little tired of
We're
paying
ready.
storage on this.
Yes.
All right,
We're
well,
ready, and I would like to invite you to talk to Lucas after the meeting, and he can talk to you more specifically about what your requirements are and how we can meet your needs for confidentiality for any, appropriate length of time and anything else that might be important to you. And we would be honored to have your collection.
And it is standard for donor agreements to include those sorts of requirements, and that is something that, as a librarian who took archives classes and did archives focus for a time, I know that there's always sensitive materials that need to be kept confidential until certain times, certain statements, and that's all going to be included in a donor statement agreement. And that this is one of the reasons why the archives is where it is, because there are donations that have
I know, but anyone that looks at these files
And-
asks
and anyone who's-
assurance that they will not disclose what they're-
If you'll talk to Lucas afterwards, I think that we can answer all of your questions, I hope satisfactorily, and we would be honored.
All right, well, thank you.
When we're ready.
All right, good. I like that. Good.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. Thank you, Jill. Is anybody else? Cheryl, did you have a question?
Well, sort of a continuity question. This is sort of a fresh start in some ways for Gerber Hart, and in the past, I've tried to volunteer, I've submitted forms, there may or may not have been follow-up, and I don't know what of those would be duplicated now. It would be, so what this is a new start, as in, I'm not going to assume that previous forms I've submitted that haven't generated any response.
That would be fine. We do have some computer records that we have just started going through, and we will be contacting everyone who is included on that list as a donor and as a volunteer. But if you would fill out the form tonight and
I'm going to
or
fill
go
out one,
online,
yeah, that's okay.
we promise you there will be follow-up, and we need help, and we
I
want
just
you involved.
Filled out an online form, exactly these questions answered.
It is a new day.
Cheryl, so it really is a new day, and it really is time to be bringing more and bringing more and bringing more and bringing more people into the organization. And you will see that it's...
And I apologize for any oversights that we had in the past. And they were, and it's the past, and today's today, and tomorrow's tomorrow, and that's where we're headed. Are there other questions? Yes.
Are you planning to have an archivist
Yes.
person?
We're looking for an archive committee and a library committee. I think we're talking to some famous people from the Chicago History Museum who might help us out. Or infamous, I'm not sure, really. So yes.
Infamous, that's more.
And Lucas has been interning as an archivist. He's put in 100 hours as of today, as a matter of fact. Congratulations. That's like your first 100 days or something, right? And so he'll be moving forward with us to help out and make sure we're doing it right.
Okay. Do you have a list of the archives that you have, the list of the collections?
Do we have a catalog?
That is something I do not know. I've not heard.
We will find out the answer for you.
Okay.
There are
If
various.
there isn't one, there will be.
Right.
Yes, that's the reorganizing and getting things cataloged, and that's part of the process. Yes.
That's going to be in
You wanna help?
room.
I wish I could.
You can. You totally can. Everybody can help. And I'm
As long as
serious.
you're signing confidentiality agreements, and you won't tell everybody.
I am absolutely serious.
Okay.
We would love your help. Somebody over here, Tracy.
The digitization, has that been talked about, especially of the old broadcast and audio tapes?
It hasn't yet, but I think it is something that we will certainly talk about sooner rather than later. Yes? I'm sorry, Jill. Okay, well, we'll go to Jill and we'll come back to you.
I was just curious about the system, a cataloging system that you might have. Are you continuing to use a system that you've been using? all
For the
along.
main collection?
For
The
cataloging
archive,
system.
for the circulating book collection?
For both, I would say maybe for the
The-
cataloging, for the book collection as well as like a collection database.
For the
software.
circulating library collection, we are continuing to use Library World, which we had originally used, which when we were using it was a fairly old clunky program. Library World has since updated it into a completely cloud-based, much more streamlined online setup that they were able to completely transfer all of our old data into this
It's
new
more like
setup.
Library Universe.
Which was quite nice because that means we didn't have to re-enter everything, which the idea of made my head almost explode. And it's much more streamlined. It's going to actually have an online catalog available for patrons to go on our website, go into, and actually find what we have and come get it.
That's great.
So, and as far as the other materials, that's still in the process of figuring out exactly what we'd like to use, what will be the best methods, and that's...
Why we'll be calling you a lot.
And
Did you remember your question?
In the past several months, all the articles about Gerber Hart have included more or less the phrase occupancy issues. Does the fact that we are in here mean that it's now all been...
That is correct.
There's actually, there's a business license on the wall, and the occupancy issues have been resolved, and...
Inspectors have been through, it's all official. And that's what's brought us to this time. And I think there's probably more we could have done to prepare, but what we decided was, you're gonna help us prepare. So we're gonna open the doors, and we're really, really glad you're here. Are there other questions? Well, Tracy.
Yes, it was great to hear you mention transparency as one of the first priorities of this new chapter. And can you speak to any ongoing public meetings or future opportunities for Q&As with
Well, we have talked about absolutely having those on a regular basis. We'd love your feedback on what you think would be a good schedule and your help organizing them. And I think, 2 or 3 times a year probably makes sense to come together, and then you can experience the air conditioning after you've experienced the heat, and come check the all season, and we can answer any questions. But
the archive and special collections will always be
if you have any other questions in the interim, I don't want people to wait. I don't want you to think, oh gosh, I have to wait for a meeting to find out, or I have a question, or I'm concerned about something. You can find us, info@gerberhart.org, and you know how to find me.
Sure. Okay.
Are you going to be posting board members and backgrounds and stuff?
That's a great idea. Yes. Sure.
It's a great idea. We will be here back here.
Well, we're going to add little bios of the board to the website, kind of give people an idea of who we are. Your home phone number.
My bio will all be live.
That's a great idea, Cheryl. Thank you. But really, I think the point is, it's all of us, and it's all of us together, and we need you. And some of you have been involved before, some of you I've been on the board with before, and some of you I don't even know, but I think I like you already. So please help us in any way you can, like I said, with your ideas, with your time, with your money, whatever you have, whatever thoughts you have, we are happy to hear them. And yes, sir.
We're volunteers,
Yeah, we are.
so, anything you guys can do to help us, we're volunteers because we want to see this 32-year-old organization continue and thrive. Gerber Hart 2.0.
Can I throw something in there too?
So, what's that?
Can I throw something in there too?
I think that was all I had.
No, but I want to add something. So, and here's how we really want to create the new volunteer program. If you're an accountant, don't think you only can volunteer to do accounting.
So we need an accountant.
We do need an accountant. But if you have an interest in learning how to process archives or want to, staff the library, you have a great idea for a program, you may have not a clue on how to get a program going, but we would love to help you create programs that help us. So we want this to be a win-win back and forth, doing learning kind of thing for both of us. So does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. So if there's something you're passionate about that you think you can contribute, even if you don't have a clue how to do it, bring it on.
If you know of anybody who's interested in joining us on the board, or if you're interested in joining us on the board, Amy will be happy to take your information and get the application to you. And like I said, we have room for 7 more members of the board at this time, and we are anxious to have a full complement and move forward. Are there any other questions?
Just a thought. The fact is that what you saw tonight surprised you as it did us. I hope it surprised you. We've grown. So tell your friends, because y'all have a lot of friends who are going to be supporters of our institution. And once they come in the door, at least I was downstairs, I don't know what went on up here, but I hope y'all all came in and went, ugh, because that's what I did the first time I came into this space when it was under built out. So tell your friends, tell them just to drop into a visit. What about open hours? No requirement, no time, no money, just come on over and visit us. Come over and see what we have.
Sit in the cushy chairs, read a book.
Anybody else have a comment, a question, concern, happy thought?
Is there cookie and coffee left?
There is coffee, and there's some little cuties out there too. So feel free to. Is there anyone else who wants to go into the archive who didn't get a chance to earlier? Okay, so we'll have Lucas will meet you over there at the archives, and Steph will meet you in the special collections. So we've got another half hour. So if you want to all just mill around or mill around.